as legal cover to crack down on political dissent. The law was supported by the UK and the European Union, but European officials say it was never meant to be used against free speech. CNN's Katie Polgates has the story and a warning. Some of the images in her report are disturbing to watch.
On August 10th in Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown, people took to the streets to protest a worsening cost of living crisis. Rising food shortages have left over half the population without enough food to eat, according to the World Food Programme. Protesters held rocks, set buses alight. Authorities were quick to condemn the destruction, which they said left 8 officers dead, with the president of Sierra Leone labelling the protesters as terrorists. There was no mention of the number of civilians killed, which Reuters reported as high as 21. But it was the severe police crackdown both on the streets and online that has revealed worrying signs of a government suppressing freedom of speech. The voice you're hearing is of 20-year-old Jibrila Kojo. Sitting on his balcony, he calls for those running past to be careful and not damage the cars parked below. Just over an hour later, Jibrila would be dead. His friend David, whose name we have changed to protect his identity, witnessed the shooting and says Jibrila was shot in the neck by Sierra Leone's police.
He was totally obvious. He was not even part of the protest. He was at the balcony watching the protest.
David's videos of the events are rare and risky. He told CNN he believes it was the sight of him and his friend filming that made them a target for police.
Before people died, I told him that we are firing life rounds. We need to back up, we need to get inside. But he insisted. He said they were firing rubber bullets, but it was life rounds.
CNN analysed a bullet casing found at the scene, which was confirmed by weapons experts to be from live ammunition. The police have made no comment on whether they did use live bullets during the protests. David's filming 2 hours before Jibrila's death reveals armed police standing on the streets below. You can see the red hats, indicating it's the Operational Support Division, an armed unit of the police, which according to Amnesty International has a track record for shooting at unarmed protesters dating back to 2007. As other scenes of injured and bloody protesters across Freetown began to be shared on social media, the internet was cut off. By midday, just half an hour after Jibrila's death, NetBlocks recorded a total shutdown of the internet, activity NetBlocks identified as an intentional disruption. The next day, a statement was issued by the government's Department for Cybersecurity warning that anyone spreading incendiary information online could be punished with up to 20 years in prison. And the basis for this threat was a new cybersecurity law introduced in 2021 and backed by the EU, UK and the Council of Europe.
To sign into law today the Cybersecurity and Crime Act.
The law had aimed to safeguard intellectual property and privacy online and was part of a broader initiative by the EU and UK to fund projects across Africa that tackled cybercrime. In statements to CNN, the EU and UK delegations to Sierra Leone said they were engaging with the government on freedom of speech and protest. The delegation encouraged all measures which lead to dialogue and refrain from repressive measures, the EU said. And the Council of Europe said the spreading of incendiary information is not listed in the offences under the Act. Do you think it's what the UK and EU intended for this law to be used by?
Definitely not. I mean, neither the EU, which is founded upon the basic principles of human rights, and nor any democratic state in the world, including the United Kingdom, would even consider an attempt to limit the freedom of speech in such a manner.
Reporters Without Borders told CNN any repressive provision of freedom of expression online must be repealed, and said they called on authorities in Sierra Leone to highlight the fact the Act should not interfere with the rights to freedom of expression. And for many in Sierra Leone who spoke to CNN, they said this law made them fearful to use social media to document what they witnessed during the August 10th protests.
They want you guys to speak before you videos. They want before you videos continue this videos.
Do you feel scared right now?
Of course, yes. Of course, on the button, yes. Yes. I'm actually expecting to think about it. I feel exactly.
Katie Polgates, CNN, London.